My name is Shane McMahon, and I will be talking about steroids today. Steroids is a very broad term, and for this presentation, I will be focusing on anabolic steroids, also known as anabolic androgenic steroids, and abbreviated as AAS. Steroids are known as performance-enhancing drugs, and the two terms anabolic is in reference to tissue building, specifically muscle, and androgenic is in relation to sex hormones known as androgens. Few other names for steroids are roids, juice, gear, gym candy, pumpers, Arnold, stackers, weight gainers, and hype. The place you're at or the people you're around really depends on the name that steroids get called. And in a place like a gym, you'll probably hear all of these. Steroids are a Schedule III controlled substance, which is a low to moderate potential for physical and psychological dependence. And this picture right here is just showing a few of the other drugs that are classified in Schedule III. And I just wanted to show the relation to that. There are several ways that anabolic steroids can be used, and obviously the most popular and one probably everybody knows about is injections, but there are these other ways that steroids can be used. There is a not very long history of steroids, but in the 1930s, testosterone was isolated, and pretty quickly after that, synthetic androgens were developed, and it became popular with athletes, especially elite athletes that wanted to improve their game. And then just going on, the years go by, in the 1950s and 70s, it just continued to get more and more popular for athletes and bodybuilders. And the pictures down below show members of the 1954 Soviet weightlifting team who were the first documented case of anabolic steroid use in a international athletic competition, something that is very frowned upon today. It became popular in the public as well in the 1980s. And then in response to that, in 1990, US Congress passed an act to control anabolic steroids. It is something that can be used for a actual legal and medical purposes. And there's different things like the ones on the top are FDA approved ways to use anabolic steroids, where the ones on the bottom, although they are still legal, are non-FDA approved. The legality of anabolic steroids is a little bit tricky because it is able to be used for medical purposes, but for non-medical purposes, it is illegal. It is a federal crime with resulting in prison sentences and fines of at least $1,000. States also have laws that prohibit the use of anabolic steroids. It does have effects on brain chemistry with neurotransmitter systems, and there's also structural changes in regions of the brain, such as the amygdala and the hippocampus. Obviously, everybody knows that steroids are bad for your health, and they have effects on all these different systems and areas within the body, and they can just really harm your health long term. There is a tolerance that can be built up to steroids, and that results in the need for increasing dosage, and the effects on the body just aren't as great as when someone initially started. There's two techniques I have listed there that people will start to do when they start to build up that tolerance to steroids. There are withdrawal symptoms to steroids. There are psychological and physical symptoms. They can vary from person to person, but most of the time it just leaves them wanting to go back because they felt so great while using the drug. Steroid costs can vary quite a bit. Obviously, legally buying steroids can be very affordable. There's discounts and ways to get it very easily, where illegally it could be upwards of $100 depending on the quality, where you get it from, and there's just nothing able to control, keep the cost low. Steroid use in the United States is something that's very, very popular. Approximately 3 to 4 million people use these steroids for non-medical purposes, and they're typically young males, and the average age of somebody to use it for the first time is 25.8 years old. Um, in the 1980s and on, there's been a heightened emphasis on just male physique, and icons such as Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those that do these bodybuilding competitions have contributed to steroids being normal. In the rest of the world, there are definitely places that use steroids, and it is estimated about 3.3% of the world uses them. Um, Mostly males, but there are still females that use steroids. And then on this map right here, it shows areas where you would need a prescription to legally use steroids. That would be in the orange, and in the blue are areas where you could use steroids without anything controlling that. Steroids also just happen in places you don't expect. So this is Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire. But I played baseball for a junior college, and even there, my fellow teammates would be using steroids, and it's something that was not controlled because there's no testing that goes on. And these players that were desperate to further their baseball career made the decision to do so, and it is having bad effects on their health now. And this documentary right here shows the black market of steroids and how much money it really makes. It is on YouTube and a really cool watch.